Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason Lowe here with Jason Lowe Photography and Films, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast series, Real Talks with Filmmakers. So, today's Real Talk is going to be about budgeting. So, this is one of the important things about filmmaking, pretty much because budgeting is all about money. And, despite how much you're passionate about filmmaking, you have to remember that it costs money to make films. And when you want to take it to a whole nother level, other than like just, fun home videos where you're just doing it for fun and for not a career, it's going to cost you money. And there's lots to cover when it comes to budgeting and filmmaking. So whether you're a screenwriter, a cameraman, director, it's going to all cost money mainly because, when it comes down to, equipment, you got to look at what you need for your film. What kind of cameras, what kind of lens, what kind of lighting, what kind of, audio recording devices that's going to come into play to making the film happen. Same can be said with location. Locations, you can't just be like pulling out your camera and like start filming a movie. A lot of times you have to have a permit, because the permit grants you not only just access to that location, but also to have that location for yourself and away from the public, or not having the public, getting in the way. So you're not disrupting the peace and the civilians there because you're trying to make a movie. Then you have the cast and crew, the cast who are going to be in front of the camera, the crew who are going to be working behind the scenes. And, to sum this all up, just look at the end credits at the end of the movie that you just watched. That lets you know how many people were involved and how many equipments were involved that these, people had to use in order to make this film you just got done watching. So there's a lot of work to it, and with that comes a lot of money to be put into making that film happen. And so, to break it down, just when you're going to make a film, you always start out with the story, which is the screenplay. That's going to tell you exactly what you're going to be working with and how much you're going to be working with. So if it's like a fantasy film, right? Dragons and castles and horses and armor and what have you. Now you have to look into the costume department. Where can I find, armor for the knights and what have you, or CGI effects, right? Who are the people that are really good with special effects that can make all these creatures of this fantasy world come to life? And then, of course, the cast and the crew that's going to be helping out with, making all these characters come to life. And of course, the equipments too. Can't forget about those. You're going to need, a certain type of like equipment to help the cameras like make movements that will make the shot more epic and what have you, or lighting that's going to make the scene look really like the right mood. And of course, audio, because you want to hear good, audio from the dialogues that the actors are going to be saying for the characters. So there's a lot to it, and it just is something that's not really talked about when when it comes to filmmaking. A lot of people just think that, okay, well, all I need is just a camera and some people, right? But the thing is, like, okay, well, what people do you know who are going to be acting for you, and how much are they going to cost? And it's so interesting too when a lot of non-filmmakers come to realize, wait a second, you have to pay them? It's like, yeah, of course you have to pay them. They're going to be with you for days and weeks or even months away from their friends and families, or even day jobs if they have any, to make this film with you. So, yes, they're going to need to get paid for it because they got bills to pay and mouths to feed and a roof to keep over their heads. And then, of course, like I said, you're not just depending on the camera, you're going to depend on the lighting, the external audio to, like, make the film be more professional looking and presentable. And of course, location wise. You can't just take a camera out anywhere without being pulled over by either law enforcement or property owners asking you, what the heck are you doing out here with all your peoples and your equipments on my land and property? That's where there's going to be trouble. So, in order to avoid those, you would have to pay for the rights to be there. So, that's why a lot of people always get caught off guard when they think that they can just make films anywhere without any like consequences. So, you have to first, again, look at the story of like what it's about, what's going to be required, and as far as like, cast and crew, equipments, and, costumes and what have you, or even makeup. If it's like, you know, made note of on the action descriptions of a script that there's a particular type of clothing that the character is wearing, or a particular type of makeup that's on the person's face or body part. It has to be in the film. So that's when you have to look into, okay, the people that are experts have at giving what you need. So again, look at the story, and then that's when you'll have like a list of things to look for as far as equipments, props, makeup, actors, actresses, crew members, and also location wise. So that way you'll get an idea of what you're going to be paying for. I mean, another great way of strategizing about this is, okay, how much money do you have to spend? That's the way I did it when I was making my own films back in the day. Is like, okay, I have this amount of money, I have these equipment, and I have these people that could work for me for a good amount of money or just for free. But when I acquired all that, I came to realize, okay, that's within my budget, and it's something that I can make into a film given what I have. Otherwise, I would have to spend more money on equipment, which there are some films like, say, Mystery Man, right? That one I had to pay for like a kind of like a dolly for my tripod, to where I can place my tripod on top of it and roll it down, the hallways when we were shooting like a chase scene. And then, of course, had to buy more extra tapes for my camcorder in order to keep filming that said film. And as the years went by, I came to make more films with my niece and nephews. It was all just about, okay, do we have to travel for these filming? And again, just more money after every project. And it just got to a point where I realized, wow, this is a lot of work and it can cost a lot of money. And that's where I had to think about, okay, what can I do to save money but at the same time like make something really spectacular? And so um that's when I just again create a list of what I need from the scripts that I write, and if it's filmable or not. And with this day and age, we have like all these different options and avenues of like raising the money to make films. A lot of people use Kickstarters, GoFundMe. I mean, gosh, a lot of those filmmakers actually were successful, to acquire that financial or that budget to, making the films that they make. I've chatted with some people at the film festivals I've been to, and, they were, struggling with finances as far as like paying their actors, their crew, and also for costumes and locations to be able to film, their whole entire movie. So it is a struggle. I mean, that's always the case, is like the time and the money to making the films. But if you play your cards right, you can actually make it happen. But it's just one of those things that you have to take into consideration before you actually turn on the green light to start filming.